Well, this Hammond collection video will be covering another one of the novel species that now has a tie-in figure, the Hypsilophodon. Now, this one's a weird one because this is essentially just a repaint of the just released Jurasaurus from the previous wave. So it's kind of strange and kind of cheap feeling that this guy's coming out right now. That they just immediately made different paint jobs of the same figure. This is exacerbated because this box art is literally the same box art from the Dryo. They just recolored it for the Hypsilophodon, which is crazy to me. Let's take a look. I do have the Dryo here for comparison. We, of course, don't have any source material to compare to, so we won't be doing that. But yeah, here is the fella in the packaging. He's probably exactly the same as the Dryo. I can only assume. Tail in the package itself as well. Looking a little stubby, actually. The Dryo had a long tail. I feel like the tail's been shortened, which is going to be even crazier to me if they actually changed like the tail length to be stubby. Now, let's talk a little bit briefly while I open this up about Hypsilophodon and Dryosaurus. They're not directly related. Dryosaurus is a kind of a generic ornithopod from the Jurassic period. Hypsilophodon is from the early Cretaceous. Now, you might be thinking, aren't these both Hypsilophodontids? Ugh, that's me removing his little jaw from the package. I apologize for the noise. It's a terrible, hideous little mouth. It's not coming into focus very well, but like, who cares? But yeah, Hypsilophodontids are not a thing. It turns out that they're just kind of a disparate group of like basal ornithopods, basically, that all just are scattered outside of like, Hadrosauria and Iguanodontia and stuff. So, despite the idea when the Jurassic Park novel was written that Hypsilophodon and Dryosaurus were related species, they actually turn out to not be that closely related. Now, these guys, of course, actually were in the same paddock and under the same species label in the park, presumably. I guess we're technically never know that Hypsilophodon is in the park. They're just called Hypsilophodontids. And we get confirmation that some of the Hypsilophodontids are Dryosauruses, but Hypsilophodon's confirmed to exist in the Lost World novel, so, you can assume that there were probably Hypsilophodons mixed in with a Dryosaurus in the novel version of Jurassic Park. Now, I mentioned before, well, sort of, Hypsilophodon should be smaller, much smaller. I mean, you can see this in Jurassic World Evolution, right? The Dryo has a decent size advantage over the Hypsilophodon. And so these figures are basically the same scale, so that's going to be kind of wrong. Let's get this guy out of the package and take a look at him. So here he is out of the packaging, green on the green background, maybe not the best. I grabbed my Dryo. He's different. He's not a repaint, which blows my mind. I guess everybody just assumed it was a repaint when people were talking about this guy coming out, but he's completely different. Possibly every part of his body is different, which is like wild. So yeah, he's completely different. It's crazy. I'm sorry. I just got to keep saying that. Yeah, he's got look at his big chunky little hands there. He's got these big meaty mitts, right? Some big fingers. And look at the Dryo. Look at this guy's dainty little mittens. He's got these tiny little fists. In fact, the arms chunkier on the Hypsilophodon. The tail way longer on the Dryo. Neck is shorter on the Hypsi, longer on the Dryo. The Hypsi actually is kind of smaller. Probably should be even smaller than that. But like, it's actually different. I'm astounded by this. Like, even the feet are different. Like, they actually went through the effort of putting different feet on them. Like, maybe you can see like a decent comparison there. They're not like dramatically different, but they're a little bit different. And yeah, like the dew claws are different. The Dryo has these dew claws that project off backwards. The Hypsi here has if we can try to get the camera to focus consistently at a short distance, he's got these dew claws that are kind of rounded on the back of the leg that don't project backwards like a spur. Um, they instead just kind of twist around behind the foot in a really admittedly weird way. Um, huh. I'm completely shocked. And yeah, like the shape of the body is different. You can definitely see like the how much thinner the Hypsilophodon body is compared to the Dryo, which has a much taller, thicker body. The tail chunk here at the back of the torso is much longer if you measure from the hip. Actually, it's about the same length. It's just that the legs are smaller. The hips are thinner. Well, no, if you line it up like that, it is longer on the Hypsilophodon. Huh. I'm very shocked to see that this is actually a different dude. In terms of the face sculpt, yeah, I mean like the jaw sculpt's completely different. The Hypsilophodon has this like textured scales on like the edge of the lower jaw there. That the Dryo is like smooth. Just a completely smooth lower jaw. Completely different head shape from the top. Like the Hypsilophodon's like a little more pointed. The Dryo's a little fatter. A little more rounded. Huh. I would never in a million years have thought this was actually an original sculpt. Of course, no glass eyes. We expect this at this point. I would say I think the eyes on the Dryo are better. Like the Dryo has these nice like yellow eyes that really stand out and pop from the surrounding green color, whereas the eye on the Hypsilophodon is this muddy brown. It's completely buried down there beneath that dark green paint and that red in the eye socket. It really doesn't pop. It looks kind of out of place and weird. Let's take a look with the mouth closed. Give me a second. These are always a little fiddly. Yeah, I mean, with the mouth closed, you can again see the difference in the shape of the heads, right? Much more triangular and forward-facing head on the Hypsy, and then this rounded head on the Dryo. I'm impressed that it actually is just a different animal. Huh. Well, that's crazy. All right. Well, I don't think I have much else to say about it. I always got to rank it. I like it, actually. I was pretty skeptical until I took him out of the box, saw his different proportions, and looked at him. He's more than simply just a repainted Dryo. I think I like the colors better on him. I think the green on green, like he's got the this like light green striping along the back that pops really nice off this like blue green coloring, and whereas the Dryo has this gold that kind of like blends in, doesn't really look like anything. We get this head fading out to this brown. I mean, the eye pops better, but the body coloring itself is just generally less interesting. The Dryo also suffers from having a little bit of mismatch in the colors on the body versus the tail. The Hypsilophodon has no such problem. I think the Hypsilophodon in general looks better as well. It's not like gonna, be like massively better, but man, how do I feel about this compared to the Mosaurus? I think the Mosaurus has more novelty to it. I'm gonna put this ahead of the Corytho, I think. It's just a slightly better, really, it's just a slightly better version of an ornithopod. A basal, Hypsilophodon-esque ornithopod. But I mean, I like the paint job better. I think the model is, the model is ultimately just like kind of similar caliber, just slightly more enjoyable. It does have the wrist articulation is actually completely different. I didn't highlight that when I looked at the hands, but oh, that's a loose as fuck arm there. Jesus, that's fine though. But you can rotate the wrist. So if you want this to be like a retrosaur wrist, you can actually do that. Whereas the Dryo has fixed wrists. His wrists have no articulation. You have no choice but to have the hands be correct. So technically that's another point in favor of the Hypsi. You can, do what you want with that. And the neck posture too is kind of like the Dryo really has this like upturned neck, just like by design, and the Hypsi's got much more vertical neck, which I like as well. Yeah, I think a longer tail would be cool, but I'm not gonna dock it for that. Excuse me. Yeah, I think that's a good spot. The galley's still a funner figure overall, even though it's not a very accurate galley for what it was. That's why this guy's ranked down here so lowly, is that he's got teeth, and he's a Jurassic World design build as a JP galley, which annoyed me. And yeah, I like the Corytho, but I think this is a better Hypsilophodon than it is than the Corytho is as a Corytho, because that Corythosaur, as novel as it was, as nice as the paint job was, had a miserably short tail and some other awkward stuff going on with its body. I don't see any point in taking any longer on this video. I think we'll just lock them in there.